Amitabh, this is something I'd like to ask you about because if you looked at, critical to this demographic dividend is how much skilled manpower you have. And if you looked at the statistics, it shows that compared to other countries, India has barely 3% of its total labor force that has done some kind of vocational training or the others. Whereas if you look at China, it's around 20%, and as you get to developed countries, 40% and above. What does India need to do? You were head of NITI Aayog. You had handled a lot of these issues. Why haven't we moved quickly enough? Because the demographic dividend, according to experts, began from 2010 onwards, and we knew it was coming. Did we fall behind, and what needs to be done now?
So Raj, important point is that out of a population of 1.4 billion, we still have a billion plus people below the age of 35, and the demographic dividend, if you look at entire India, the average age will be about 29 right till 2070. So you will have a very young India. But critical to what you said is that you need to create formal jobs. You can't be growing at very high rates of 9 to 10% with 42% of your population dependent on agriculture. So you need to move population from agriculture to very sustainable urbanization. And I'm a great believer that urbanization creates better quality of life. It's a center of innovation. It's a center of growth. And it enables you to create good formal jobs. It's very, very important that many states, and particularly the eastern part of India, need to do this manufacturing-led urbanization. And that's very critical in the days to come. So many of these things, to my mind, improving learning outcomes, health outcomes, the government of India has done a lot on several of these issues in terms of a new education policy, but we must realize that several of these subjects are state subjects. We are a very large country. We are bigger than 25 countries of Europe. Every state has to deliver on learning outcomes and health outcomes, and much like the southern part of India has done. And these states need to excel on skilling. Because that's a massive opportunity, and they need to really push the limits on good manufacturing-led urbanization, and that will create the right quality of jobs. But there's a massive opportunity of actually providing 25 to 30% of the workforce of the world by 2070 to the rest of the world from India, and that's a massive opportunity in terms of skilling.
Now, shouldn't you had mentioned that skilling is education is a state subject? Shouldn't industry start moving on it? Shouldn't there be this matching thing that's to happen? And look, the Modi government is now going to be 9 years old. They actually did a good thing by combining human resources with skill development. Otherwise, they're separate ministries. Why hasn't that worked? It's 9 years, and you should have had one generation coming out from that, or many, if you're just doing vocational education.
So the objective was that when you train people, you skill them through the private sector, through the industry councils. The objective was that the private sector will pay a higher wage to the skilled worker rather than the informal worker. And industry should pay that because you're getting a skilled worker. That ability of the industries to pay a much higher wage level to the skilled worker hasn't actually happened in reality. And I think it's for the industry associations to really push for that in a very big way. Because a person who spent time on getting skilled must get a higher wage rate. And that is what has happened in Germany. That is what has happened in all areas, in all countries where skilled workers were really used as apprentices in the manufacturing process.